Hello everyone, once again this is apt-s, and right now we're going to go over a little bit more variables. I know in the last video we covered a little bit. If you would prefer to learn this in your preferred language, I have videos up that cover the topic in C#, Java, and Python. So, last video we were talking about variables and some of the operations we could do on them, and what they are exactly. So, right now we'll talk a little bit more about that. And so, I know we talked about how to declare variables, but we didn't go over about naming them. And so in C++, there are certain names we can and cannot use, or there's a naming convention, I could say. So if we wanted to make a variable, let's say int y, and that's a totally valid name, and we can assign the value 3. What if we wanted to give it a different name? So let's start with y. Let's say int 4y equals 3, and you'll see that this is not acceptable. This is not a standard convention we use in programming. So when we name a variable, there cannot be a number before the name or before the letter. So the first character in the name has to be a letter, an underscore, or the $sign. So it has to be one of those. There can be a number after one of those, but the first character cannot be a number. Also, there are no special characters that we can use, such as asterisk, the parentheses, exclamation point, or the @ sign. You can't use those in naming variables, so just get rid of those. Don't even try with those ones. Also, another convention that is good to use is when we're naming a variable such as this, use lowercase characters, such as we can say hello, and we'll call this variable hello. But when we have a constant variable, such, just call this constant. Usually when we have a constant variable, we have the name uppercase, so we put it all in caps like that. That's just a convention, a standard convention we use in programming, just to recognize what's a constant and what's not, and it just helps us differentiate between the two. So we talked a little bit about assignment statements in the last video, and I'll just go over a little bit more of that. And so, what if we wanted to declare multiple variables on one line? And what if we just had an int and we wanted to declare more than one? We could just say int y, int t, and int u. And then that's a totally valid way of declaring variables. But if we're just doing it like that, we could easily just have it such as this: int y, t, and u. And there we go. We just declared 3 variables. Obviously, we haven't actually given it a value, so let's give it a value right here. And we'll set y to 3, set this to 4, and we'll set this to 5. And there you go. We have declared 3 variables and given them values. So y has the value of 3, t has the value of 4, and u has the value of 5. And let's just go over a little bit of the assignment operators. I know I didn't actually show you the effects of what the assignment operator does when we use it. So if we have an int y equals 3 and we want to change its value to 4, we just say y equals 4, and that actually changes it. So let's go ahead and just see out y first. Alright, and the value is going to be 3 for y. Right, 3. Okay, good. But what if we just change it to 4? And this actually does work. I wasn't lying to you last video. I was just didn't do it. So it's changed now. So y is 4. Notice that it's not 3, it's 4. Alright, pretty simple. What about this operator? What if we just add 1 to it? What if we just added 1 to it, just like that? Does it actually change it? It doesn't. It doesn't actually change it. It changes it here. So in this instance, y is 4. But right after that, y is back to 3, because we actually haven't reassigned it. we just added it in that case. It doesn't actually change it. In this statement it will be 4, but in this statement it will be 3 again. So to change it, we talked about the plus equals operator. So we can plus equals 1, and that will just add 1 to it. Similarly, we could just use the increment operator, which is just the plus plus, get rid of this 1, plus plus, and that just increments it by 1, so it's 4. When I use this operator, this one right here, this is actually shorthand. This is shorthand for this operator. So instead of saying it like the short way, which we were doing before, we can do it the long way. So y is equal to y plus 3. And that's the same thing as saying y plus equals 3. That is the same thing. So here, I'll just show you that this indeed is adding 3 to y. So it's 6 now. Alrighty. Similarly, we had the y times equals, or divide equals, or subtract equals, and these are all shorthands for their actual original version of doing it. So we could say y equals y divided by, or multiplied by, or subtracted by, or added by. And that's a fairly good way to do it, but it's a lot easier just to use the shorthand way, the plus equals, multiply equals, so etc. I forgot to mention one other operator that's very common in C++, and that's the module operator, and it's represented by the percent sign. So what it does is it takes your value, so y is, let's set y to, well actually let's use x. So we take x and let's go ahead and module assign it, and let's say 2. Let's see out x here. And so what this is going to do is it's going to take x, whatever x is, which is 10, it's going to divide 2 and get the remainder. And so x will be set to the new, whatever the remainder was. So the remainder is 0 because 10 divided by 2, well, that's 5. And there's no remainder in that, so it will be 0. But what if we divide it, by, what if we mod it by 3 instead? The remainder is 1, because 10 divided by 3, it does not go in evenly. So we get 1 as the remainder. And that's the mod operator. It's very simple. It's pretty useful, especially when we want to generate random numbers or do other operations. And, well, I guess that's it for this video. I hope it helped a lot, and I hope to see you shortly in the next one.